Okay, so this is the 20 something, 27th of April practice. White's Mook line is playing offense for one possession, and then the D line Trico are playing offense for starting on D and then playing offense for one possession if they get the turn. So it's mostly looking at trying to improve Muck Line's offense, make it less messy. So pull lands out, skip forwards a little bit. Okay, slash cuts. So I quite like this generally, but I think I prefer them to be level with each other. I know the pitch is quite narrow, but I like them to be level with each other here rather than like this. I think it's okay if we avoid the pick, but this is close to being problematic because of where this defender is. I think if you're level, then they'll might share a bit, and as one person runs across, the other person can get the underspace easy. Though in this case, Jeffrey does win the underspace and gets a sideline pass, which is fine. Okay. I think that Buzz needs to just sit and in the handler space. I can sit in the handler space, and we can let the deeps have a go. And if we have to, if he turns and faces us, one of us can go up the line, the other person can receive the swing. So let's not get in their way here. It's a bit of a poach, and we do get the swing and the continuation. Buzz clears out at this point, which is good. I think Jeffrey can stay or clear wide. I don't really mind. There's one handler at the moment. Okay, Nick gets the disc in the middle. I think Jeffrey stays. This person's marking him quite tightly, so if he stays, then he's probably not affecting the play, or he clears and slashes. Okay, but he stays. He gets this pass. Now, this should go back to Nick. I don't want it to swing back to Chris in this situation because there's two people over here. The continuation break is probably not going to happen. It's not like we're playing stack and we're going to get massive yards in this particular situation. Someone's passed it from the mid layer back to the back layer. I want it to go back to the mid layer if possible. Okay, and I think that could go back. I think Nick's cut could have been more like this angle rather than this angle. And then that would have made Jeffrey's throw easier. And I think it can be a backhand because the force is so far away you don't have to get it into flick grip. But I'd like that disc to go back. But it gets faked instead. And then we throw a break. This cut doesn't affect this cut because this is on the break side. This is white on the break side and this is through the middle. But if Buzz's man poaches a little bit, he could get a block here, so he needs to stay wide. Definitely not involved in the play because he's behind Jeffrey's defender. But now he can be connected because he's in that handler position. So just hanging out here, seeing if the pop pass can go or just wait. And these players can all cycle around this way and just be a bit more patient. But what happens is Buzz runs through this lane, which is what one thing, like, if he was here running through this lane and then going across, that's fine, that's great, because he could throw the inside. But by the time he gets to here and then cuts across, he's going to affect all these players. So I prefer him to chill out here as a dump, and we'll all rotate clockwise. But instead, he runs through the lane, and now it's 2-3 seconds later. Now he's looking to slash. Jackie's turned his back, which he shouldn't do. Should try to stay looking. I mean, if Jackie runs to here and then runs deep through this space, he's free. So just running out wide is not going to help in this situation. But he is like, he sees me going deep in this space. And in the end, Nick ends up having to catch the disc with Buzz clearing out through that space. So Buzz really should have either should definitely have stayed in this could got up field a bit earlier and then run across the field as Wilson caught the disc. Then he could have got the backhand or the around. Okay, but now he is free, deep, and any throw into this corner is a score. But the throw is, I'm not sure if he was aiming towards me on this left hand side or Buzz on this side, but the throw's a little bit short. It's in this space, so it became difficult and it was a turnover. Let's just have a quick look when Nick gets the disc. Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. I'd like Wilson probably to have stayed, and Jeffrey to have stayed, and then Chris could be running through. But I don't mind that too much. Okay, and then they turn over on a overthrown pass that should have been caught. Okay, next point. So if there's not going to be, we want the disc in the middle. So if I'm going to throw it to Buzz, and I want to know I'm going to get it back again. If I'm not going to get it back again, then I'm not going to throw it, and I want Buzz to take up a more defensive position, like a little bit behind. And then if Ryan poaches, he can run around the back and get the dump, jam cut, or I can do a 1-2 of him. So, but if he pushes up too far, then I've neither got the throw back to him, plus Ryan can poach, and we have less options. Nick gets away with this cut a little bit because it's a pick. You can see here that's a pick, and Alexis could have caught it. Sorry. And Chris here should be not, these two should be working together. So Chris should probably be heading deep harder here now. I said that I wanted him deep of the slash about here, and then this deep can get the disc under, okay, which is free, but this other Chris should be a bit deeper. So annoying. And there's a pick call. There's a little discussion about what they should have done. Okay, disc comes back in. So let's have a look at this again. So the dump is fine. Wilson's winning this into this space. Okay, so I think Chris should recognize that, and they both pull out. Whereas really Wilson should have had this cut under. Now Jeffrey should stop earlier because he's not getting the disc there, and start setting up a slash cut, even though I know his man's trailing him, but he could have just slashed across here. There's no point having four handlers in a row, and then it just allows Ken to sit in the space, and it takes him longer to clear. So I'd like him to slash a bit earlier. And then this is okay, like moving across and then trying to generate something on the backhand side. There's a pick again, but Chris does well to win that line. And then there's a good throw deep. So I think a bit too much cutting at the same time, not working as a team, looking at each other's cuts. Spacing was a little bit off, a bit tight in places, but not too bad, I guess. But just this whole continuous, like everyone moving at the same time, was causing a few problems on that point. Next point, bit of a dribble this time. Then I want, now that the dribble is definitely over, I want Buzz to sit in a more backwards position. Okay, and then Wilson wins the inside again, which is good. I want Chris here. Okay, and then this either running across as this person catches it, or to allow this person to have this space, or pass this person to allow the deep to have this space. I mean, he sees that he's going to be free for the backhand and sits, which I suppose is okay. And then Jeffrey could look to this space because he knows that Chris is going to get a short pass into this space. But he goes deep, which is fair enough, looking for the backhand hook. Okay, Chris fakes it, though there's good separation there. I mean, it's same third, so yeah, fair enough in a way. Then Jackie wins this space underneath, which is good. The handler's obviously deep enough that the poach didn't affect the play. It would be nice if Chris was a bit deeper. Now he needs to stop because he sees the dump pass going and allow these two to have a bit of space, which he does. And then now he should be looking for the backhand in case the up line doesn't go. Should have hit the backhand. Decides to fake the backhand and go up the line himself. Now we've got no handlers. Okay, Jeffrey comes back, which is good. Would I like this backhand to go? Yeah, I think I want this backhand to go into this space and then continuation. There's definitely enough time to throw the backhand, but doesn't really commit to it. Can take on the force there. There's nothing going to be here for a little bit. Buzz does win the race from the stack. I think Jeffrey can continue. Well, he's making a decision to come back, I think, because he's even with Sonny. He could continue to go up the line, which is fine. And then I clear the space to allow the backhand to go, which Jackie gets. And then Chris continues. Kevin touches that disc slightly, so a bit more up and over to avoid the defender getting a chance. Okay, so deeper pull. Couldn't wait a second before slashing. It's a bit too early. Alex would have been more here before slashing. That's fine. And Chris, so this far wing position, I want them to be deeper than, we drilled this for ages. I want them to be deeper than this position. I want to clear this space. I know Chris is poached and he gets the backhand because Ryan poaches. But I want to be able to throw either the inside flick to this slash cut or the backhand around. So I want to throw the backhand around to Chris Chung, but in the end I throw it to Chris Leung because he's poached and he's on the break side. But I want actually him to be here and throw it to Chris C, and then these people to attack into this lane here. So he does get it, and then Nick is basically continuing his slash cut. Now he shouldn't look behind at this point. He's seen a slash cut going, he's seen one slash cut go in front, which means that there's a massive lane here. and he should be looking at this lane. This cut, if he throws this now, Jackie catches it here. Okay, but he now looks, and he's another 2 steps, and Jackie starts changing his direction wider. Okay, and the throw is a bit wide, and it ends up pushing Jackie wider. Now I'd have preferred him to stay connected with the middle of the field there and throw to Jackie earlier. This is a one-on-one situation with well 2-on-2, and Wilson clears and Chris wins the under. And then there's a bit of hesitation by the defender, I think. Yeah, that's a good cut by Wilson. Toe turns his back, Wilson takes advantage, and Wilson gets a good throw to him, and it's a good score. So again, the wing on the far side was in the wrong position, and a little bit more patience with throwing downfield. Okay, so these are the 2 wings on the right side. Oh no, this is a deep. This is a wing, this is a wing, and this is a deep, and I'm this wing. So, start off with Jackie. I don't mind him being a bit late going, but this is probably a bit too late. I'll probably want him to be here. Okay, so there's no chance that Kevin gets picked by Toe. Okay, and it's just clearer for the thrower. So notice how these 2 slashes are on this line and this wing is on this line. Okay, and then moving to center of the field, and Wilson's getting that backhand. Now the throw is thrown a bit wide. It'd be nicer if Wilson was catching it where he is now, rather than catching it on the sideline and running out of play. Just slows everything down. And I think, like, at the time I didn't like this throw, but when you look at it from this point of view, there's separation. He throws it to the yellow line, like it comes in field. I just think that a read could be a little bit better. Does get a hand to it. Be nice, a slightly better read, and that's a goal. A bit squeezed, I guess, overall. Like, just be at this situation. It's just called disc on sideline. Jeffrey should pull out because he was the second slash cut. So the first slash cut's got the disc, so he should. Well, he's going deep, so that's fine. Then I don't know how. Yeah, so this handler, I think it's probably Chris, should have stayed deeper, and then hopefully Nick would have got a disc here. AI goes a bit rogue. Yeah, so there's a half switch here, which is the problem. So these 2, Jeffrey is tracking, and he turns and sets inside. Now the only problem with this is that there's 5 people in front of him, and it's just him. He is the second deep now, so there's only 2 people. There's only 1 person deep. So it's not the time probably to poach in that lane, because it's 2-on-2, and then he turns his back to his player, and then he turns his back to the middle of the field. So we end up with him not knowing that Ken is there. Chris knows that Ken is there and sort of half switches. I think Chris should just switch. I think Jeffrey's beaten deep in this situation, and Chris should take control and tell him that he'll take the deep, and then there just won't be a score. They'll probably move the disc, but there won't be a score. But what happens is they both half do something, and then I think Ken gets the disc and then hucks it to David anyway. So the 2 people end up completing, and it's a score. So better communication. Oh, I needed on that. Okay. Nick is free for the backhand in this case. Jeffrey needs to stay wide. I don't know if he does, but let's see. Because this handler needs to stay at this moment in time, because we've generated this hole in the middle of the field and we want to hit it. Okay, so Wilson jogs a bit, so that's good. Jeffrey stays wide and we get this in here, and then Nick continues, which into the middle of the field. Now, got to be careful with this throw, making sure that the deeps aren't too close. There's a throw later where the deeps are too close and then you get a D. But this is now a really good position to be in. Jackie's going this way, Chris is coming under, Jeffrey's staying wide. I like him to be a bit wider, to be honest. And now, well, if the disc stayed here, then I would look to slash, but it didn't stay there. It got moved back to Nick, and now Nick should be able to throw any backhand into this space. So hopefully Silap is ready for that. Yep, turns and then throws this, but it's a poor throw. Just has to throw it, like there's so much space, just has to throw it head high, even slightly higher than head high, and float it. There was no wind, and just float it into that space, and Silap with it, even with a jump, is going to beat a person when he's got that much. Good. So there's good spacing. Like the spacing is so much better. Not loads of people running through. People giving time and space to these players, trusting them to move the disc, and then rotating around their system. Like bit of a trouble. Fell over. Okay, just happy to stay and watch in the backfield. Okay, not all running through all the time. Just a bit more patience in the handler position, and knowing that when the opportunity arises to run up the line, you take it and get it back. I think that second slash cut is a bit early. Also, like off the pull, catches the pull, throws one, gets it back. Okay. Maybe in this situation just keep it and throw to Nick in this space. But then he throws it back and Wilson has to step back, which makes it harder for him to throw any inside. And by the time he's turned, Nick is wide. Sits in the backhand position, which is what I want. And then gets the disc. Now we can look at 1-2s going across the field. Wilson needs to get out of this hole. I think he turns around and gets it in the hole, to be honest. Was quite lucky, to be honest. I think the defender nearly gets that. But this is now good. And then Wilson's free, so Wilson can keep being free. I think if he goes straight away, then obviously he can do the 1-2, otherwise turn for the backhand, because this is a break. But neither happens, just turns around and looks at the field. Now everyone's running through, there's no like patience. Again, like I think Chris and Buzz should stay. But Chris should stay. This is nice break side, but runs through the break side with no threat. Now Nick is on the break side, but Buzz pushes up and stops this break side. I mean, he probably should engage more with the break side, but we keep pushing up through the handlers, and sometimes we just need to chill out and stay behind. Now we've got no handlers back behind the disc. We're in the back layer rather than the mid layer. Okay, Nick needs to chill out and stay. Buzz could have stayed, unless if you're going to get the 1-2 here, then great. But he's not getting the 1-2. His man's already here, so just stay. Okay. all you're doing is clogging this space. Okay, also Chris, where is Chris? Oh, Chris is here. So Chris is here. Okay, and this space here, don't run this way into this space. Let people run this way into this space or straight into this space. This is hard to hit. Okay, in the end, sort of half clears, should just get out of the way. Okay, and then like I could throw to Buzz maybe if Alex wasn't here. Maybe not because it's quite a low throw and the timing is maybe a little bit off, but I've got no chance with Alex standing there. Okay, now Chris clears behind and I miss throw to Nick. Should have been better throw. So he is free there, but going in the wrong direction and I miss him. So poor throw by me. Offense. So this is, I don't mind this throw. Like, well, I'll rephrase. I don't mind the idea of this throw, but it's poorly executed. Like, Alex is taller than the person marking him. The person marking him is facing him. So all you have to do is throw the disc here. And Toe does throw this, has been throwing this disc well lately, but instead of throwing here, he throws here, and which is equidistance for the defender. Okay, maybe still, yeah, anywhere here is a goal. Anywhere here is probably a goal, but it's too floaty and ends up here, and Chris gets a chance. So it should have been to the other side of the field. This, like, you're dribbling. Like, we shouldn't be struggling to throw this disc and dribble up the field. Okay, he shouldn't have to catch that one-handed and then regain his balance. We want him to have balance so he doesn't miss. I mean, also because of that, the wings end up closer than they want to. I'm too close at the moment. Jackie is too close. Jackie should be on the white line about here. So, yeah, even this like starting throw is messing up this opportunity. Okay, but Jeffrey makes a good slash cut, gets the backhand. So good that the wing is engaged his person, trying to get out of the way of these two slash cuts. And Nick is coming back on the open side as well. So if this didn't go, could throw into this lane. Chris has stayed. Okay, just maybe even more backfield just to give the space, but that's all good. And then, like, I'm not winning this. So it's these three people's job to win this. Okay, Sidelap is too deep now to win this inside. My man's underneath me, so if I run into this space, I'm not going to make it. Wilson should have probably stayed, and Nick can be clearing out wide because Alex is poaching anyway, or Nick goes in and gets the swing, but needs to communicate with Chris. So Buzz does win the inside here, but if Wilson had stayed, then Buzz would have got this in this hole. But because Wilson pushed up, it doesn't go to the deeps. Bit of a juggle. Okay, gets the disc inside. Needs to clear wider. Now this ends up, I don't know, like this cut, I mean the problem is that it's messy and there's too many people again in one space. We're not spread out, we're not made space for each other. And Buzz, I think, should run in this angle here and just get a little backhand. But he starts running this angle and that makes Jeffrey Foe here. Now he is still free in this space, but it just pushes it wider, which means that even if he does catch it, he's going to end up here and a bit more trapped, rather than just catching it here and looking for continuation. And it ends up getting dropped anyway. False is wrong, false is now right. Step to push your person. I think Kevin should clear out here and not do what he just did. I think the hammer's going to Alex, and Alex wasn't as aware as he should have been, maybe. It ends up in a turnover. Okay, I had a bit of a moan at practice about this. First of all, we missed the pull and it slid out. It took time to retrieve it. Next, Nick brings it to the sideline and everyone stops. And Buzz should just go and get the disc because he's there and he's free. But everyone just stands for a second, then it gets swung. And then Chris does a cut foot. Again, this is that diagonal which I don't like. I mean, we called a slash cut. We called a double slash, and he is the second slash. So he should be, once it goes to Chris, you can do the slash cut. That's fine. But you need to be where Buzz is now. But he ends up running this diagonal behind this defender rather than running forwards and slashing to make it an easier throw, then stops, comes back on himself, and then like the defender is directly behind him, so he should win this, but he ends up running away slightly and gives the defender the inside line, and doesn't attack the disc enough. So just angles, attacking the disc, thinking about space, and then I have a moan for a while about that. And then they play offense, end zone offense. I like the fact that when they swung the disc, they beat the game line into the pocket and then score. Okay, again, I want this disc to go back, which it does. Then Nick can stay back, engage Kevin. Kevin stays on the poach. So Nick can run around for the dump at this point, or do a 1-2 with Chris, or Chris waits and throws to Jeffrey. Okay, I want the first slash to go into the dump position. It turns away. So now he's heading into these other three players. Okay, doesn't throw to Jeffrey. Jeffrey should be into this backhand position now. Eventually Nick gets the jam, and Jeffrey should look for the continuation on that side, but it's already disengaged and it's running around. And then they fail to complete a simple 1-2. Okay. This is not hard. Okay, but misses it. I think that Chris does well taking the backhand away and be really aggressive. Unfortunately, the front of stack is not there, and Alex tries to throw it off balance and overcooks it and gets the turnover back. Okay, at this point, slash cut by Buzz, okay. Slash cut by Jeffrey, should have caught it, but Chris backs up and then throws a really nice huck to Jackie going deep. So A bit lucky, but good throw by Chris. Want Buzz to come round. So this is good because you can see that Chris again is in a better position. Like he's not affecting, he's deeper here, he's not affecting. I think the fact that Ken is staring at the disc is an opportunity to also go deep. But so when he gets to here and Ken starts turning, like get behind him and sprint deep. But it's good because Nick has got the disc and Jackie should be looking to go deep at the moment because Toe is on the wrong side of him. Okay, but he just jogs. Chris goes, and Chris comes under. Can't see what's happening with Nick. So yeah, it's hard to say, but this Chris cut, I'd like it to be here. I think. I don't know. Maybe maybe it went backhand and he went wider. I'm not sure. Wide and then come back in, or go there and then go there. I'm not sure, but it's hard to see without seeing Nick at the moment. But something doesn't quite happen, and then Wilson ends up getting into that space. So I'm guessing it is flick. So I think I would like Chris to receive it in the pocket, not Wilson coming from this side. But that's what happened. Okay, Chris gets it in the pocket under. So Nick has gone deep, so I don't mind if this goes. Jackie should be running a few more yards deep and then running across the field, slashing across the field, looking for the break. And Chris needs to clear this space. So he's probably too deep to go back and handle, so he needs to push forward and get Alexis occupied. So if Jackie does slash, then Alexis can't affect. And Wilson, I mean, if Wilson thinks this backhand's going to go, he needs to stay his ground. But I wouldn't. I think it's perfectly acceptable to be putting yourself in a position where you can go up the line in this situation. Okay, but he doesn't throw the huck. Jackie definitely should be heading across the field now. This is pointless running down this sideline. It's really hard to hit. You should be running, stopping, coming hard here, so, or even hard under. He'll win this race at the moment. Wilson's decided not to go up the line, so I would have liked him to have stayed or run wider just in case this backhand cut developed. He does stop for the inside. So Jackie stopped now and is looking to get the under, but doesn't sprint hard enough away from his person. That's not fast enough to get the disc. He needs to. Then he runs across the field. That has to happen a lot faster in order to get the disc. And now Chris ends up looking at Toe. I don't know what the count is on. Probably should be looking at these two rather than looking at Buzz at this stage, and ends up turning over. Good fast start. Sees Alex beating me up the line, and then throws Scott. Okay, 1-2 off the pull, double slash. Wilson no, Nick no, under by Jeffrey. So I mean, it's not too bad, but what I will say is I think that if Jeffrey can take some hard steps deep here and then get the under, rather than his man is underneath him, so he needs to manipulate the person to get closer to him, or say to Chris, you go, because Chris is closer to his person, so more likely to win the under. I mean, Jeffrey does start with what, 1.5 meters disadvantage, trying to win this under, and I mean it's close. I mean that could have gone, but and into this space, but obviously a break into this space is probably more beneficial anyway. But so he did win, but just a little bit more movement, just to keep the defender twisting and turning around, and more likely to win that under race. Let's take yourself up a bit more. I think, again, double cut. This probably should be Chris L's cut. Like, Sonny is under, and whoever's marking, I think it's David, switches to being deep with the player. Chris L is more likely to win this. I mean, this is parallel and ends up being tight because the angle does get the disc though. But I do think maybe Chris L was in a better position. Yeah, good cut by Jeffrey. That's fine. Nick is on. Good work. Throw it a little bit earlier so he catches it here would be slightly better, but a good connection. And then continue to Chris. And then there's some poaching going on. I don't mind Chris looking downfield a little bit longer there than throwing it back. Obviously did a slash cut this way, and then because they switch, these two players switch here, and there's no force, then there's a big hole here. Good dribble, and good decision to throw to Buzz. And I think, like, end zone wise, we're nearly in a stack. Jeffrey's out. I mean, let's go back a little bit and see if Jeffrey could have not got caught in that position. Probably not. No, so he's coming up behind. So that's okay. If you can just stay a bit deeper and let Chris have the backhand into the end zone for a bit longer. Could throw it to me and do the 1-2, or I want the break side to be cleared and Wilson to step forward and look for the break, which he decides to dummy it and go open side, which is fine, and then Ken gets beaten by Chris. So that's about point. Deep pull. This whole positioning is pretty good. Backhand. So with this, Jackie can go deep, but also Wilson's going to be free in this space. So there's a bit of like deciding not to throw to Jackie, but then like now you've missed Wilson. So I know the play is to throw deep, and I sort of understand why you'd miss that, but at this stage you know Wilson's probably winning this, so therefore Wilson can huck it to Jackie, though the timing might get a little bit off. And Jackie didn't go as hard as he should do. Wilson gets the under anyway. And I stop the play because I talk about Jackie not going deep properly. Because the whole point of that pull play is for Jackie to explode deep. Okay, and we restart play. Jackie gets the under this time. Yeah, these two hesitate here. Like, you should recognise that you're probably not winning the under here. Like, these two players are not winning under. One, I mean, maybe Jeffrey was thinking about slashing and then saw Chris. I think Chris should wait and let these two slash. But in the end, it just becomes three people running in one space and nobody getting the disc. Okay, so Jackie gets it. Yeah, everybody in the same space. All three people here. Okay, so we need to think about spacing or timing and get a bit of better format, and then we end up turning the disc over, which I think is a poor way of turning over. We should not turn over like that. We should be throwing a backhand around or a simpler dump pass to retain the disc. It's a bit of a cheap turnover. Inside, gets the inside. So we really have to defend against that. Like, static start, throwing the inside is easy. So I think Wilson has to stand closer, and then someone else has to help Wilson in this space. So one of these has to be heads up and help. If the disc goes up and over Wilson, then they get it. But this is now sort of bread and butter for lots of teams. It's good they didn't get the backhand off, but now they're going to do a dump cut, and at least Alexis is causing Nick to be, the defensive point of view, on this side, but Alexis does the right thing and Ken does the right thing and throw to Alexis, and then they miss the opportunity to score by an overthrow. Oops. Brick. Okay, double slash. I think they're probably. Oh, so. I'm not sure. Like, this is. I think you need to look like you're gonna slash. It doesn't look like either of these two players are gonna slash. I mean, defenders looking at them as well, so they're not really paying attention to when the disc is in. But you need to keep these two active. I know you're not involved in the play, but make it look like it's coming from this side. Jackie and Nick get free. The backhand was a little bit wide, causing Chris to throw the forehand instead of the backhand, but it's a good put distance-wise, and Jackie scores easily. And Nick would have scored as well. Slash cut, lefty backhand. Oops. I'd like this to have been here, going deep, and then this can be the throw. Okay, but now, I mean, I'm looking for the backhand anyway, but if I was to throw to these two, then it's violation called on the brick mark, because Wilson didn't tap it from the right place. Everyone goes back. Okay, double slash. Abuzz does the right thing by going into handler space. This time there's no defender here because the wing has run deep, and we'll get good separation with the deep, get it back, and then now this is better spacing. I think Jackie could stop here and just give the space, but because Kevin turned his back to chase Jeffrey, it could throw the disc into the space when he wasn't looking. I don't know what to say about that. Travel. Bizarre thinking. Anyway, so we end up trapped, and actually they get out of this. Like, Chris does a slashy cut, and then Chris does the same and gets the disc. Chris is more free, obviously, because Kevin's starting position. Okay, and then here Chris, I think, can step back on the backhand. Chris can throw it to him, or Chris can step back on the backhand. Chris can fake it. Defender will probably bite, and then Chris will win the up the line. But he gets the backhand, first option, and swings the disc. I don't think Chris is going to win this space, so maybe stay and let the deeps have the under space. Oh no, wrong. He does get the space. Good throw by Nick. Wilson gets this point. Maybe go around the back and handle, or when the Knicks are actually, sorry, he needs to come wide now because these two are coming under. Just not affected by Wilson's person. Happy for Wilson to stay here. Should get the backhand though. Should call for it and get the backhand on the break side. Okay, so this throw is overthrown. If this throw is here, then it's fine, because as long as Chris has recognised Ryan's looking at the disc, looking at the player, not looking at the disc. But he doesn't throw it here. Throws it pretty much where Ryan was. So let's go back and have a look. So Ryan is a few steps before halfway between these two lines. Okay, so it's here. Okay. And that disc gets thrown. So Ryan was about here, and this gets thrown here. So it's just poor execution. It's a little bit dangerous. I mean, if he throws it accurately, it's fine, but it's a little bit risky. And there's an injury call, and then Salak gets pulled off the pitch. Check disc. This is frustrating. Okay. When the disc comes back in, there's no help for this player to run through the open side lane. Okay, he runs through Chris's open side lane. Okay, should just come to here slowly and set up for a dump. But now this whole side has been clogged up. Okay, Wilson does pull two people and the backhand does go. And there's a poach, there's an extra offensive player back here. So not too bad, but that should have been a bit cleaner. And so Wilson spots the free, and they're going to get a free shot to the break side, and then Buzz gets free and throw. I'm not too worried about the fact that it was possibly out. There's no line, and there'll be a line in a tournament, and there's no way you would run out or throw it out in that situation, so it's okay. And this gets thrown out in the opposite direction. Okay, next point. Where are we? Interesting this, I think, because obviously at this point Kevin is marking Chris, or Ken is, I'm not sure which one, but just go to Mozzie. They can't call pick, it's too far away, not closely guarding. So even though he was picked, technically that's correct, he can't call it. Kevin half goes for the disc, which means that Chris can go forwards because he's confident he's going to get the disc back. That should go. This should be another dribble. Just keep dribbling this way for a little bit. Jeffrey needs to run a bit deeper and slash across the field. Slashes now. Good. Gets the disc. And there's a pick call. Okay, so that's why I said run a bit deeper as part of it anyway. I mean, Buzz. Oh, it's Nick that does it. Nick runs between them. Oh, Nick should be running away on that side or running through this gap. The thing also is here that the pick is called. Ken is here, and Jeffrey's here. Okay, and then the pick happens, and Ken gets to catch up the distance that he would not. You either both come back to the original position, or Ken catches up the distance that he was affected by. So there's no way that he should end up next to Jeffrey. He should be like here. And if I was Jeffrey, I would come back to this position and let Ken get past the other side of Nick, so then you get the slash cut. But now the slash cut's sort of gone because of the new setup. We should clear. Chris gets the slash, good. Jeffrey should clear the other way now. And Wilson should try to get this backhand. Needs to cut early though for that. But Chris is seeing Nick. Could have called a pick again maybe. Okay, good that it got swung. I'm not sure what the play was. Salak needs to run harder here. See, change of pace there and he starts sprinting. Should be sprinting from the start. So this should have gone to Salak. I mean, if he ran harder, it would have been better. But who's winning this race? So this should go. Okay. Changes direction here. Kevin has changed his force to go more around. This should be in his backhand grip and looking to throw a backhand into this space. I think he's looking at me rather than looking at this. And it will throw to Chris. But waits and then ends up throwing a backhand but gets deep by Alexis easily. So a bit of vision there, needs a bit better awareness. And Toe does have the awareness to throw to Alexis. Backhand force. Oh. Okay. So, backhand force. I come back on the flick side because I thought that it was going to be flick force, it's going to be free in the space, and a bit of not because it's a backhand force, which is fine. The dump should be a little bit further behind, giving a bit more space over here. And then this cut here, diagonal towards the disc, this is the cut I don't want. Yeah, I don't mind it coming up here and then slashing. Well, it's probably on the wrong side of the field, but this diagonal cut, no. This, they're even, and this player is free. So Chris should bail out of this cut. He's in a good position to make the cut. Like, this is a good position to make this cut, but he is bailing out. Well, sort of. Should bail out there and go deep. Okay, so let's do it one more time. Chris should stop there and head deep. But carries on and then rotates into this space, clogging it up even more. Nick was free by a couple of meters. This cut's not free, it's wide. Sunny So is also stopping anything wide here, so this cut should have just stayed still. Not bothered, just waited. Okay, this now goes. If Chris had gone deep, then this could go deep. Chris now needs to run here, but because he curved inside, he's in a not such a good position. This just goes back to Chris. Small space. Good catch. I guess if I faked that, I could have thrown around. Jackie should be coming under, or Jackie should clear and give Chris the space. But Jackie needs to come under now. But just goes deep. His person's deep of him, and Chris is free deep, but Jackie's person's stopping. So Jackie should have come under. Okay. And Jackie's now way too deep. Okay. Now this player is deep, so Jackie should come under. Hard now. So that generates free deep. This person has to commit to Jackie or the poach, and one of them will get free. But again, Jackie just runs deep. Now he turns. A bit too late. And is gone. The opportunity is gone because the player's turned. So needed to cut earlier. Finds the inside. Continuation. No, looking to break the force. Just get it in the pocket. Continuation to Wilson. Little pop pass. Or to Jackie. Doesn't manage to get through because of Sonny, but then throws the backhand to Jackie, so that's good. Wilson can attack this corner now. Again, this is good. This is a break into the pocket. I should run a bit more. Came this further up the field, but it's okay. Get it back to the middle. So there's either two solutions to this. Nick's made a decision to go, which is fine because it's a pop pass. This should go. This should go to Nick. I understand why Buzz is taking a step as well. That doesn't matter. It could go to either of them. It goes to Buzz. Buzz can throw to Nick, and then they can dribble to score. If Chris throws to Nick, then Buzz will bail out and probably go and score. Okay, but in the end, hesitates. Probably should have just gone to Buzz. Could have still thrown it. Sometimes double cutting is really annoying. It makes people hesitate, but sometimes you can still throw it. You just have to judge the distances. So we end up being passive. It's a poor throw. And there's a pick call earlier. Where's the pick? Sonny So. Yeah, fair enough. This goes back. Good up the line cut. Like Buzz to have gone up the line there. Set himself up to go there. Step back and then up the line. Okay. And then Chris should spot that he's poached and cut out here. Now, doesn't spot it, Buzz does it instead, even though Chris is free. Yeah, sees it too late, takes a step, but it's too late. Should have caught this hammer, but ends up about here, and it would be nice if it was here, or actually straight at me, but ends up drifting into the middle of the field, and Sonny gets close to it, and it gets dropped. It does get called a foul. On review, maybe that's a bit of a weak call. Okay, good cut by Nick. Slash, Buzz should slash here. Good catch by Chris. Again, awareness by these two, knowing what each other's doing. One should have gone up the line. Turn the wrong way. Okay. I'd fake this. Quick fake here, and then turn inside. But yeah, good find, good reactions. Okay, caught on the sideline, thrown to the middle. This needs to be like take a quarter of a second longer. And make sure this pass is better, because that's just not good. It forces him to turn out. Just take that extra little bit of time to get an accurate throw if you can't throw it that quickly, and practice throwing it quicker. And then like this throw causes, I think this throw causes the turnover. Okay, because he's off balance, turns around, he's desperate to get it back. He is free, but because he has to turn all the way around and fetch the disc, he's a bit off balanced. It's a bit discombobulated. Probably needs to make sure he's more accurate again on the way back. But we need to not turn over. Also, there's no benefit from Chris running this direction. Just to hold your ground there. But you're moving this way, and Buzz then ends up throwing it behind. And then it's an easy score. We can't have points like that. It just really kills us. Okay, trapped on the sideline. Wilson should slash. Nick should get the simple under, maybe with a slight slash. But Buzz does a good throw to throw the break. So Chris basically ends up having to get the disc here because Wilson has no other option. Now, it's not too bad. Like, I think Chris is this wing though, so it'd be nicer if Chris was further up the field, and then he could have slashed across, and then that would have given Jeffrey this space maybe. I don't mind this too much, but that was the only real option. It is backhand force, goes round. That's okay. Nice inside. Wilson should get the inside break side. Slightly again rushed throw, extra quarter of a second, make sure it's a good throw. Wilson does well to stay in, then travels, good throw, break side. It's good timing by both these, all three of these people are going break side now, and Jackie should stop and come back in the hole because Nick is there. Okay. Wilson clears, goes around the outside, throw the inside, camera zooms off to the ladies' game. Did score in the end, but it was such a messy point, and we need to just be more accurate with our throwing and cutting. Good timing for the deep shot here by Jeffrey. I think, but it should have been a backhand in my opinion. Tried to throw a flick and it falls over way too early in this turnover. Pick up the disc quick, good throw to the middle, into the pocket, that's good. Spins round, sees that Toe is the person that's free, good hex shape, 852 shape. Cut from the far side across is good. Fake the flick, look for the backhand. Toe's probably affecting the play a little bit there. Does turn and is free in the gap though. Can do the same thing probably. Oh, Sunny So's free on the inside. Good throw, because if it had been any more to the right, then it would have been challenged by the D, by Nick. Throw into the pocket. Nope, but bites on the force. Could try to throw the backhand. Throws it down his head, which is fine. And then threads the needle to throw the break. Dump here. But there's no one for continuation on the break side anyway, but it'd be nice to throw in the dump and look at the break side again. Hits the pocket though, 1-2, good. And then continuation on to Ken. So good flow off the D. Okay, that's it. I think there were some really nice positives in there. Some of the spacing by the dark team was really good. At times the white team spacing was good and the timing, and we did sort some things out, like the wing position on the break side got better as the game went on. But we also, when we started shifting around positions and when they started forcing backhand, we ended up all cutting to the same space. And our throws at times were inaccurate, causing disruption to our flow and sometimes turnovers. So things to work on, but some positives in there. Let's watch this video, take this on board, improve, improve, improve.